Alright guys, Arduino tutorial number 10. Now we're getting into some cool stuff. If you've purchased the 16x2 LCD or whether it came in your starter kit, we're now going to go through the wiring in order to go from the Arduino Uno over to the 16x2 LCD character display. The components that we need today, we're going to, if you purchased this display, most likely it came with these header pins here, so you're going to have to break them off in order to match with the 16 different terminals that are here. You've got a 10 kilo ohm potentiometer that most likely came with it as well. And you're going to make use of, I'm going to make use of a 330 ohm resistor, but if you have a 220 ohm resistor, you're going to have to use it for the backlight LED there. Still not sure whether it's integral to the actual unit, so we're going to throw that in there. You see that these header pins haven't been soldered on. So you can purchase an LCD display where they're already soldered on, or you can solder them yourself. In addition to what we've just talked about, the potentiometer, the resistor, obviously the display, you're going to need, I think I counted 23 jumper wires, but you're going to need a heck of a lot of jumper wires to make this guy work. Okay, I purchased this one from Elmwood Electronics. It is 2017, and I purchased this guy for 14 bucks Canadian. Let's see whether it says whether the 16 characters, 2 rows, white text on blue background. Pins are documented on the LCD to assist it wiring up. Single LED backlight included, can be dimmed easily with a resistor or a PWM and uses much less power. Can be fully controlled using only 6 digital lines. Okay, it doesn't tell me whether the resistor is in line with the backlight. Okay, so this is a good excuse to buy a decent soldering iron. So a number of different components that you're going to get from Adafruit or from other suppliers, you're going to need to solder on the header pins. So go and purchase a decent soldering iron. You're going to make use of it time and time again. Your display should come with the header pins and the 10 kilo ohm potentiometer. If not, you're going to have to purchase those guys separately. And you'll see that there are 16 different pins here, so you're going to have to break this off at the 16 point, right, so that it matches with each of your different pins, and then solder those bad boys on. Okay, so in order to solder them on, you're going to loosely put the header pins into the corresponding holes of the LCD. And then the best way to solder it on is to place it onto the actual breadboard. So, because sometimes when you solder it on, it's going to be going off on an angle. And so by placing the header pins directly into the breadboard, then they'll be straight. You'll need to have something possibly behind the LCD screen just to prop it up while you're soldering. This is ridiculous. You'll need something in order to keep this guy in place. So the best way to do it is to drop it into the breadboard, and then you can solder them in. Be careful not to have any shorts in between any of the terminals, otherwise you're going to get some crazy characters happening later on. Okay, the terminals here for our LCD display. There's a number of different terminals. There's 16 in total here. And so we're going to go through each of them in the wiring that's going to the Arduino. So the first one is the power supply. So we got ground and positive 5 volts. So they're going to go to terminal 1 and terminal 2. Okay, so again, this is terminal 1 all the way through 16 here. The terminal 3, which is this bad boy right here, is going to be the mid terminal of the potentiometer. That's going to control the brightness control. Then we have the RS, which is the register select, that decides where in the memory it's going to place it. Read or write, whether it's reading to the LCD or writing to the LCD, and the enable. Each of these guys are going to be the data wiring here, and there are 8 different terminals that we can make use of, or 4. On this video, we're only going to make use of 4. Okay, then finally the backlight. You're going to have to use a 5 volt and your ground again, and terminals 15 and 16 are going to be the backlight for your LCD. Okay, if you want a little bit more information on each of those different terminals, you can go to Arduino then you go to the tutorials, and then go to Hello World, and it will walk you through everything that I just discussed there in a lot more detail. I'll put the link below. Okay, so we're going to go through the wiring in just a little bit, but if you need to reference this chart here, I'm going to put this PowerPoint that I'm doing right now as a PDF on my website, and so there'll be a link below in the comment section, and so download this guy, and I believe we're on page 7 of the PowerPoint. So this will provide you with the chart for my particular LCD screen. Hopefully with your LCD screen it came with some instructions. Sometimes these numbers right here, this number right here for the RS and the E, those guys, the enable, those guys are going to change depending on manufacturer and depending on which video you're watching as well. So you'll have to change that in your code to correspond to 12 and 11 for this video here. Other videos, they're going to have 10 and 9, I believe. Okay, once you wire these guys up, you can wire it like this, but then you can see that you've got conductors that are going all over the map here. I mean, there's no real way to clean this up, but this sucks when you've got conductors that are going in front of the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it, put the screen in the opposing side, and then we'll be able to wire it up and be able to see our screen properly. Okay, so the way that I wired my guy up, initially I wired it up like this, and I'm like, that is not going to work whatsoever. So then I flipped it around, and you'll see that my display is down here. And that gives me clear access to my potentiometer to control my characters and how crisp they're coming in here. And we're going to right now pause the video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the wiring here that corresponds to this diagram on the right hand side. Alright guys, so let's walk through all the wiring for the Arduino and the LCD. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this Arduino around. So we're going to grab the Arduino and we'll just rotate it a touch here. And we'll rotate it 180 degrees here. And that way, hopefully it'll clean up our wiring. Otherwise, you're going to have the conductors that are going over top of the actual display. This way we'll be able to wire these guys down to each of the different terminals and then hopefully have a clean LCD left over. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off first with our positive 5 volts and our ground terminals. So what we're going to do is we're going to wire these guys up to the positive and the negative of our Arduino. So what we'll do is we'll grab the 5 volt terminal here. We'll bring this guy out, bring it over, and doing this cleanly is quite an art. It takes quite a while. So let's see, we're going to bring this guy down to the positive, bring this guy over to here. Beauty. Maybe they move this guy over just a touch. Beautiful. Okay, and because that is our 5 volts, we'll make that a red conductor. Okay, then we're going to grab the ground right beside from the ground terminal. Bring this guy up, over, bring her down, and then over to this terminal right here. Beautiful. Okay, we'll just clean this guy up just a touch. And then let's see, we're going to make this guy a black for the ground. There we go. So that means that this entire rail right here is the negative, and this is the positive right here. Now you'll notice that the potentiometer I've just grabbed and I've just dropped onto the board here, away from the terminals, so over on the right hand side. And what we need to do is we need to provide this potentiometer with 5 volts reference. We're going to have the positive there. Okay, then we're going to have the negative on the other side. Beauty. Move this guy up just to here, actually. Let's see if I can grab this guy and move it up. Nice. And then the center terminal of our potentiometer, where does that go? That goes to LCD pin number 3. So from here all the way over to pin number 3. And you'll notice, or maybe you haven't noticed, I've put the LCD here and I've matched it with it has 16 different terminals, right? So this terminal right here is number 1, this terminal over here is 16. Right now we're going off of the chart that I provide you in the PowerPoint. So if you don't have that yet, then pause the video, go to the comment section, it will bring you to the page where you can download the PowerPoint in a PDF form, and you can scroll down, I believe to page 7 has this chart. And we're just walking through all the wiring for the LCD. So right here, since this is pin number 1 and this is pin number 16, I've tried to drop it onto the breadboard here, and you can just make out these terminals right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to help you when you actually go and wire this up. So if your breadboard does have the terminals there that are like physically etched onto the breadboard, then that's going to help determining which of the different terminals we're going off of. These guys may not have any of the numbers on there. They may just have these LED, DB7, DB6, right? Or they may not have anything whatsoever. They may just have number 1 and number 16 on either side. Okay, so now what we've done is we've got the potentiometer wired up. Let's make this guy a blue. Okay, and so we've provided this guy with 5 volts between this terminal and this terminal, and the center wiper is now going over to pin number 3. Okay, pin number 1 on the LCD is going to ground. So we're going to take one from our negative bus right here and drop that guy over to pin number 1. Looks good. We'll make that a black. Right beside that, we're going to need 5 volt reference as well. So from our 5 volt bus right here, we're coming and feeding this terminal right here. You can see that once I bring it out to any one of these 3 terminals, that the VCC is now getting positive 5 volts. And because we've made that positive 5 volts, make that a red conductor. Beauty. Number 3 is already done. Number 4, where's number 4 going to? Number 4 is going to Arduino pin number 12. Okay, so let's see if we can keep this somewhat neat. So pin number 12 is going to come over, and it's going to go to terminal number 4, number 5 here. No, getting mixed up. 1, 2, 3, terminal number 4. Okay, there we go. Bring this guy down. Bye. Come on, buddy. There we go. Beauty. Okay, let's make that guy a blue as well. Looks good. Now, why do I have 2 different terminals there? Okay, that's a little bit frustrating. Okay, 2 seconds. We had pin number 12 going to 4. Sorry, guys. This guy goes here. Beauty. Okay, next one, pin number 5. Again, going off of our chart, pin number 5 also goes to ground. Okay, so at that point, we can have, it just depends how you want to do this. You can bring this guy straight down to 5, and that would be actually pretty clean. So let's go from this negative bus right here to pin number 5, or what they've got labeled. You can just make it out read right there. Very cool. Okay, and that guy is referencing our 0 volts, so I'll make that a black. Okay, pin number 6 is going to Arduino pin number 11. Okay, so pin number 11 is now going to pin number 6. Beauty. Make that a blue still. Looks good. Okay, what else have we got? Pin number 7 is not connected. So there are 2 different configurations. There's a 4-pin configuration and there's an 8-pin configuration. So we're going to leave pins 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 are not going to be used. You can do most of the things you need to just with the 4 data terminals that we're just going to do now. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 are not going to be connected at this point. Okay, number 11 goes to pin number 5. Okay, so let's see. Maybe I can bring this down just a touch. And this guy down just a touch. And hopefully that's going to clean this up a bit. Okay, so pin number 5 on the Arduino is going to 11. Okay, so we're coming over here. And trying to keep this clean is really an art form. This is my second time trying to do this diagram. And It's a little bit cleaner than before, but it's still not as nice as I'd like it. Okay, so that is one of our data lines. The next guy, let's see, pin number 4 on the Arduino is going to LCD number 12. Okay, so pin number 4. So let me bring this up so I have some room. Easy now. Let's grab this guy right here. Let's bring this up a touch. Okay, so pin number 4 is going to 12. Okay, all of these guys are the data cables, so I'm just going to make them a different color here, so I've just decided to go with purple here. Pin number 3 is going to 13. Beauty. Again, try as I might, it's just really messy. And then fine, what else have we got? Pin number 2 is going to 14. So this bad boy right here is coming down. We got just enough room to sneak another conductor in here. Beautiful. Okay, so that's all of our wiring so far. The last thing that we need are pins 15 and 16. 15 is going to reference the 5 volt terminal. So we're going to go from the positive to 15. Now what you need to do is you need to look at your actual display. So look at the cut sheet for your display and see whether you need a resistor. This is going to fire on the backlight, the back LED for this display. In some instances you need a 220 ohm resistor, like a 220 ohm or a 330 ohm, same as we've done before with LEDs. I believe that this one already has a resistor that's integral to that circuit. I just haven't been able to confirm that. So on mine, I'm probably going to put a resistor in line here. Okay, so double check on your cut sheet whether you need a resistor on pin 15. Okay, pin number 16 is going to reference the ground. Beauty. That guy again is our 0 volts, so we'll make this guy black. And we are done with all of our wiring. Okay, once you've done that, this is going to be a mess. Like on here, it's somewhat clean. You're going to have those little jumper wires going everywhere. But at least here with the display, it's going to be clean and that you're not going to have any jumper wires that are going over top of your display. Okay, so I was just going to move on, but I was interested in seeing what would happen if I hit this start simulation. I don't have any code in here whatsoever. I just have the wiring. And when I hit the start simulation, watch what happens to the screen. Right now I have the positive from the 5 volt bus going straight to pin 15. We said possibly we might need a resistor. And in the simulation, well, bam, smoking a pancake. Oh, they're saying something over here as well. Let me see if I can scroll down here. What does it say there? Start simulation. Bam. Current through backlight LED is 23.7 kiloamps, while maximum is 20 milliamps. So without that resistor, could be smoking a pancake for the LCD screen. And that was a lot of work to get this guy wired up. So you may want to put in, and I'm definitely going to put in a resistor just in case. I couldn't see anything in the paperwork on the cut sheet for my LCD whether it needs that resistor or not. At most, it's just going to dim it slightly by placing that resistor in there. So let's stop the simulation. Let's take out this conductor right here. So we'll delete that bad boy. We'll grab this guy, and I've put it in as 220 ohms. And we'll drop that guy in there. From the positive bus over to 15. Beautiful. And let's see how this works. Start simulation. Gorgeous. Right on. And what's cool is you can change this this pot on the simulation as well. So you can change this, and it's going to change how bright the text is on the background there. So you can see that by changing that pot, you're now changing the brightness of the text. Very cool. All right, so let's be safe. Let's put in a 220 ohm or or a 330 ohm resistor in between the positive bus and pin 15, and then hopefully no smoke and a pancake on the backlight there. Okay, so everything's wired up now. You can see that it's not as clean as you'd like it. You've got conductors that are going all over the map here, but right here you can see that there's nothing going in front of the display. Right here is my positive 5 volts and my ground. That's going over to my main bus over here. I have that going to my potentiometer. This blue conductor in the center is going over to pin number 3. And you'll notice here on pin 15 that I have the 330 ohm resistor that we placed in there. It seems to work without that resistor, but I'm just going to be safe and put that in there. It makes the display just slightly dimmer once it's there. Hopefully I'll find an answer as to whether there's a resistor that's integral to the actual circuit for the LED there. So at this point, you should be able to change the potentiometer, and by changing the potentiometer, you will be able to change the display in that you'll be able to bring up the characters more or less on the display, which is being just kind of washed out by my lights here. So let me turn off the light. There we go. Okay, so there you can see how bright the display is. Let's see if we can zoom in a touch here. Maybe 2 seconds. Gorgeous. Okay, so at this point, this potentiometer here is going to change the backlight, or not the backlight, the actual characters that are going to come through on the screen there. So you can see that by changing this LCD, we'll be able to bring in those guys. And I'll put something on the actual screen, and then you'll see how this changes everything. Now, if you don't have the conductors hooked up to pin 15 and 16, so I'm just going to pull the ground here for the backlight, at that point, then you're just going to have this, where you've got the characters just dimly coming in there. So you'll want to have the backlight hooked up there. Let me just get that guy hooked up again. Beautiful. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Let me download a program here, and we'll be able to see some characters on the screen. Excellent. Okay, so now I've downloaded just a quick little blurb to go onto the LCD display. Right now it's not coming in, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this potentiometer, and by changing that potentiometer, we'll be able to bring up the actual characters. So we'll increase that. Very nice, eh? Look at that. Arduino LCD wiring tutorial. Beautiful. If I do it too much, then it gets washed out. So you're just going to find a place where the background is kind of gone away. Beautiful. Cool, eh? So in the next video, what we'll do is we'll walk through how to actually place this onto, place the characters onto the actual screen. I'll dim the lights for 2 seconds. You can see how bright it actually is because my lights are actually washing out the display. It's pretty bright, eh? And so by changing that potentiometer, let me see if I can do it with the screwdriver rather than having my hand in the way. So by changing that potentiometer, you can wash it out, and you're kind of finding the sweet spot where the background just disappears, and then you've got your characters. Cool, eh? All right, guys, so keep going on the playlist. Hopefully everything made sense in the wiring. If you find that that the actual display is not working properly, meaning that your characters are, you got these funky characters coming in. What's happening is that, because I had the same thing, what's happening is that there's a little bit of a short in between some of your terminals there. So take a screwdriver and just wear away between the terminals, maybe have a little bit of solder or flux that's touching there, and you'll get some crazy characters coming through. Once you scrape in between each of the different terminals, then hopefully the display will work properly for you. All right, keep going on the playlist, guys. Thanks for watching. Next one, we'll walk over the code in order to drop in each of these different characters.